This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Lowe's knows that free makes everything better. That's why our rewards members get free standard shipping on the things they need and want, starting at Silver Key status every day. Savings for rewards members add up fast, so why wait? Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Not available in Alaska and Hawaii. Exclusions and more terms apply. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/shipping terms. Subject to change.
It's KFI AM 640, and you're listening to The Conway Show on demand on the iHeartRadio app. Tomorrow is voting. All the political ads stop after tomorrow. All of them. They go away. And so we'll take 2 or 3 years off. What am I saying? We'll take a year off because they'll all be back for November election next year. But it'll be an off year. And there'll be a lot less of it. All right, we were talking about See's Candy. What was going on with See's Candy? My only connection to See's Candy is Bellio, who again buys a box of See's Candy whenever she goes on a plane. And the reason she initially did it is she travels with 2 small doggies, and the flight attendants can be really nasty to you if you have a dog. Unless they're dog lovers, they can be really nasty. I've had a flight attendant. We had a dog, Ernie, who's no longer with us. Love that guy. But we were flying home with him from Oregon. And, you know, they always tell you, keep the dog in the cage, in the carry-on. Keep him in the cage. He's a small dog, 10 pounds. And Ernie kept scratching, clawing, and biting until he got out of the cage. You know, he would just eat through the nylon and just eat through the cage and got out. It's made out of material. So my wife is holding him under a blanket, trying to hide him. Flight attendant comes by to give my daughter a Coke or 7 or whatever she was drinking. And our dog lunged and barked. And then the other older flight attendant, this woman says, "Did that dog bite you?" And she said, "No, it scared me, but it didn't bite me." And the flight attendant said, "Well, I think the dog bit you." And the young, she's only 20. She goes, "I'm telling you, the dog didn't bite me. Look, there's no bite marks on the arm. That dog did not bite me." And she goes, "I'm calling the cops anyway." She called LAPD from the cockpit to have us arrested. And we get to LAX, and there's 2 cops there from LAPD.
Wow.
And we walk up, and I felt like a huge a-hole. But I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, me and my wife are the reason, you guys are here." And they said, "Pardon me?" And my wife whispers, "Just keep walking." "You're a moron. Why are you assuming they're here for us? Let them figure that out."
Yeah, you never help them out.
"You're the dumbest guy I've ever known. You say you're street smart, you've been to the track. You're literally the dumbest man I've ever met." She whispered like that all the way home. Got in the car. "You're the dumbest guy ever."
While you're sleeping that night?
Yeah. "Ernie's smarter than you are.
Well.
Everybody on earth is smarter than you are." Just walked by. She goes, "God Almighty, I've never seen anything like that. Hey, I'm turning myself in for what? Why we're not here for you." Oh, great.
Why? What'd you do?
Oh, nothing.
Yeah. "Hey, come back here, young man. What'd you do?" "Oh, young man, it must be my hair. I'm going to go back and talk to those 2.
Advanced hair.
Oh my God, you really are. Did you hear that, young man? All right. Why is C's in the news? Let's find out.
What is up? This is your LA in a minute, and I'm here on Western
Love LA in a minute. Love this guy.
Kevin, love it.
Yeah. Yes!
What is up? This is your LA in a minute, and I'm here on Western Avenue in Koreatown because this site was the first location of C's Candies. The company started by Mary and Charles C. in 1921, where they chose to bring their chocolate delicacies to the rest of the world. Now, it's currently a bakery, and it serves desserts, but nothing is like C's Candy with the deep, rich, chocolatey history. Let's get into it. In 1920, Canadian chocolate salesman Charles C. had dreams of opening his own candy company in sunny California. So he moved to Los Angeles with his widowed mother, Mary C., and with her own original recipes, they opened up their first storefront, C's Candies, on 135 Northwestern Avenue. The chocolate was as delicious then as it is now. And
somebody asked him because his Mr. C's mom was a big mover and shaker at the candy company. And she was tall. She was like 6'4". And that back in, the early 1900s, that was huge. I was like 7 foot tall. And, slightly overweight, if not really overweight.
Davidson that would go door to door delivering C's Candies to increase visibility. C's continued to expand and soon was the premier confectionery shop in all of Los Angeles. But as the Great Depression came...
Bellio, you have good taste.
Thank you.
Premier chocolate company in the world.
That's right.
Or at least LA.
But as the Great Depression came and took a toll on everyone, Charles C. had the great idea to open up what was called a sunlit candy studio to allow people to see how the chocolate was being made.
That's cool.
The factory, along with these delivery vans, allowed C's to get back on the path to explosive growth.
I still love C's. It's really a throwback. When you walk into C's, the women are still dressed up in like white skirts and they have hats on. And it looks like they just never evolved. But I like that. I like that throwback. It always smells the same, smells like chocolate in those places. It's fairly expensive now.
Is it?
Yeah, it used to be when I was, I'd go to one in the Valley after school. There was one fairly close to where I went to junior high. And you can go in there for like 25 cents. You could buy a piece of candy, or 18 cents, whatever it was. And now it's fairly expensive to get in there. What does a box of C's go for, Bellio, when you travel on the aeroplanes?
I think like 28.
$28.
Yeah.
God almighty. And what does that get you? Anything? Does that always work? Do you always get freebies?
No, it's not a every time occurrence.
But you that's the plan, though.
No. I don't go in with the intention of getting anything back.
But are you angry when you get nothing back?
I'm not happy.
There you go. There you go. Blew it on the air.
So-
Blew it.
Guess how much an assorted 1 pound box of C's chocolates is?
Sorted 1 pound box. $19.
Anyone else want to guess?
18.
Wrong. $30.
What?
Yeah.
For a pound?
For an assorted chocolates, a 1 pound box, it is $30.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
that's what
God.
I
I bet 30.
Wow. That
I
seems
said-
like a lot. I mean, steaks, beautiful New York steaks. And what is it? Magovi beef? Gobi beef? Galbi beef? Kobe beef? Kobe beef? It's not $30 a pound, is it? Wagyu. Yeah, that stuff's good.
By 1936, they expanded all throughout California, including to San Francisco, which was hosting the World Fair in 1939, which enabled people from all over the world to see the unique process on how this wonderful candy was made.
This actually should be renamed LA in 2 3/4 minutes.
C's was ahead of the curve again in 1949 when they decided to have a float at the first televised Rose Parade, further establishing their candy dominance.
I bet you didn't know that. Now you know it. Stick that in information in your skull.
In 1952, Lucille Ball visited the C's factory and actually worked there to prepare her role. By 1952...
Oh, you remember that, Bellio.
I love that. It's one of my favorite scenes.
The candy on Lucille Ball. When those candies were coming out too fast.
Yeah.
And she had to eat some of them, stuff some down her...
Read it up!
Yeah, some of them had to be stuffed down her brassiere. Remember that?
Scandalous.
That's right.
In 1952, Lucille Ball visited the See's factory and actually worked there to prepare her roll. By 1952, See's Candy.
Yeah, can I get some of those that weren't down Lucille Ball's pants? Oh, God, yes. God almighty.
By 1952, See's Candies was so renowned that Lucille Ball took a job at their factory on La Cienega to prepare for her role in the infamous job-switching chocolate candy episode. In 1972, Warren Buffett's sweet tooth got the best of them when, along with Charles Munger, they purchased See's Candies to add it to the Berkshire Hathaway portfolio, which it still is to this day.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow, this guy's loaded with information. We should have him on more often.
Berkshire Hathaway led an aggressive expansion, including their first international store in Kowloon, Hong Kong in 1976. See's Candies remain one of the top-selling chocolate brands in the world due to adding new flavors, but still maintaining the true original recipe.
Yeah, best are milk chocolate walnuts and the molasses chips. Molasses chips, milk chocolate walnuts, you're gold. Gold.
And in 2012, See's rolled out the world's largest chocolate lollipop, which was over 16 feet tall and weighed more than 7,000 pounds. It was the equivalent to 145,000 regular-sized lollipops.
And then but the problem with See's is they always give you, it's like, hey, do you want a sample? Yeah, what are you giving out today? Cherry foot fungus wraps? Oh, God, I don't know. I don't think so. All the crap they give you for free, the samples, are stuff that nobody has ever purchased. Ever. They don't give out the good stuff. They don't give molasses chips. They don't give the walnuts with the milk chocolate. None of it. It's always like, what is that? This is Ajax and mint.
Two.
Yeah, with a powdered paint coating, powdered keg coating. Get the Christ out of here.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
For the last 8 years, and if you've been a longtime listener, you probably can confirm this. For the last 8 years, I have been sniffing around on why Bellio brings candy on the plane for the flight attendants when she flies. And I've always accused her, jokingly somewhat, but trying to dig deep. I've always accused her of giving chocolate to the flight attendants and having an ulterior motive for it. And she's always denied it, always denied it, always denied it. Until today.
Because you...
Until today.
You brainwashed me into thinking like you.
No.
Yes,
you travel with small dogs and you wanted the Gestapo to lay off you. And you did it with candy.
But
that's what you did. You knew that you traveling with two dogs is like a circus act. And you got to make...
They never called the police on me.
I know. But I also don't bribe people. So, that's how you get...
I wasn't bribing them. I swear I wasn't bribing them.
You paid them off to... You're like a mobster. You're like a mob wife.
No.
Yeah. I pay you. And
you're going to leave the little doggies alone.
Look the other way when those doggies bark. That's what you were doing. Because you didn't give See's candy before you traveled with the dogs.
Because I wasn't
needing of a bribe. You didn't need to bribe them when you're traveling alone.
It's just, they're so sweet. And it's like, give them a little treat and just recognize the hard work that they do.
You did it to get them to lay off your dogs. I understand it. And I think it works. But I'm glad you finally have confessed that
I haven't confessed anything.
That you bought those. That was See's Candy insurance. That was, that you needed that to get them to back off you.
It was just a nice gesture.
But I'm glad you did it because you know what? Sometimes it's the only way to get them to back off, is to give them something.
What about when I bring the See's candy when I don't have the dogs with me? What about that?
I think that is as rare as 4 full moons in a month.
That's not right.
Do you answer me honestly, okay? And don't lie because I know your sister's number. When you traveled before dogs, did you ever give See's candy to flight attendants? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. So the Seas candy was introduced once you started traveling with the dogs?
Just because I thought of it then. It was a coincidence. It was just a coincidence that I thought of that idea.
Quinky dink, Tim.
Okay. All right. We'll leave it at that. I'll leave it as a coincidence. All right.
All right.
Bellio, I know that before you got married, you lied to John about how much you love skiing. Did you know that there's that snow fell in Mammoth?
Oh, really?
Did he know? Does he know that?
Yes, he knows.
Oh, he must be thrilled.
He loves it.
He can't wait to
He's
get up
ready.
there.
Angel loves it too.
He's a great skier, right?
He's really good. He's an instructor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He
Adaptive ski instructor.
for handicap.
For disabled
For
people.
disabled.
Yes. People with disabilities. Yes.
Is that how you guys met? Sorry. Too rough?
It's been a rough show.
Rough, though, yeah. All right. It's 5:26. You can, we'll give you the night off. No more incoming.
Seriously?
Seriously, yeah. No more
No
text.
more, huh?
No more text.
No more?
Well, just one more question.
Oh, jeez.
Is that how you met?
No!
Okay. All right. Okay.
It's just about time for ski season. The area received a few inches of snow overnight, and snow groomers are already hard at work preparing for skiers and snowboarders. Get this, Mammoth Mountain is set to open for the season 1 week from this Friday.
Wow. Are you kidding me? They're opening up in the first week of November? Wait a minute. A week from Friday is what date? 6th, 7th? Wait, what is it? 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, yeah, 15th? 15th? Wow, mid-November. Is that typical, Bellio?
Say that again. I wasn't listening. That happens a lot.
I get it. Although I don't want to give you the speech because it's too late. But is it typical for Mammoth to open up mid-November?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And when you go skiing with him, with your husband John, do you hang in the lodge or do you ski?
I've done both.
You've done. Well, what do you prefer?
The lodge.
I'm with you.
By the fire.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. When my dad and mom my mom was a big skier, and my dad just did what my mom wanted to do. One of those guys. And so we'd go skiing. We had 6 kids. We'd go up to Big Bear for the day or the weekend, whatever. And my dad hated skiing because he thought he was going to break a leg, and then he couldn't work, and then we'd be thrown out of the house. He had a whole run that he did. So he didn't ski, and I didn't ski. And so my brothers, my sister, my mom would all go out skiing, and I used to spend 8 hours with my dad just walking around. It was the greatest time of my life. I was 8 years old, 9 years old, and I'd walk around with him around Big Bear or around, Aspen or Vail or Mammoth, wherever we went, every 3 years or so, we go to a big ski vacation. And I would spend 8 hours a day walking around with that man. I remember, I have the greatest memories of my life. Just me and my dad up in the mountains. We knew nobody else. And I got to walk around with my dad, and my dad would make fun of everybody or joke with everybody. And it was hysterical for 8 hours. It was great. Some of the greatest memories of my life.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
You know what? I think we need to draw more attention to, and I don't know if this is a solvable problem or not, or maybe it's just me. That's possible. That's always my fallback, that maybe it is just me. And that I'm totally open to that. But over the weekend, I went to drop off, I don't know, maybe 10 things at the Goodwill. Not the Goodwill, but a donation center. I don't want to give the Goodwill a bad name. They're good. And they will. But when you drop stuff off at a donation center, God, they give you I don't know if we could use this. That has a chip taken out of it. We'll take this and this, but not that, and that. And it's just free stuff. But I guess what happens at these donation centers is they have to throw all the stuff away that they can't use. And when you bring and you donate stuff, they got to go through it. and they hire the lousiest people in the world to take the donations. If I were running one of these companies, I'd put my most excited employees out there. Just a guy and a gal out there. And when a trunk opens up, I'd run out there. Hey, you got some stuff for us, huh? Oh, man. Oh, that's great. We'll be able to sell that. That's great. I hope you enjoyed it while you had it. I'm sure it's going to go to a nice family for a couple of bucks. And we're going to do some good to try to get these kids, some food and some shelter. I really appreciate you coming by. Please tell all your buddies if they have anything to donate, stop by here. And we'd love to have their stuff.
Oh, I like this guy.
Yeah. Wouldn't you like that? Wouldn't you go to that guy a lot?
Absolutely. And when you told me you wouldn't take something, I'd be like, oh, you're right. You're right.
Exactly.
I see it.
Exactly. I went to the Goodwill in Tarzana. This is 15, 20 years ago. Geez, maybe longer than that. Yeah, must have been longer than that. And I'm dropping some stuff off. And there's this older black guy's working there. And I my Santa Anita hat on that was signed by Doug O'Neill, who won the Kentucky Derby twice, by the way. And he looks at the hat and he goes, hey, you go out there often? I said, yeah, I go out there, once or twice a week. He said, I used to love going out there. And I said, why don't you go out anymore? He goes, I really can't get a ride out there. I don't really drive much anymore. And I said, I'm going out today. What time do you get off? He said, I get off at 1:30. I said, well, I'll go home. I'll, drop some stuff off and I'll come back. I'll pick up at 1:30. We'll go out for the day. He goes, really? Oh, yeah. And I was thinking, this guy has got to bring me luck. He's filled with juice. He's filled with great karma. He works for decades at a Goodwill.
So you were going to use his good karma to benefit your karma at the track.
Yes, Jennifer.
And you give me a hard time about buying chocolates.
No. I admit it. I was going to use this man's luck to benefit both of us.
Oh, well, that's nice of you.
I was going to give him a ride, and I was going to pinch his luck.
Pinch his luck.
Yeah, take a little bite out of his luck. And so I go back, I pick him up. We drive out there. We talk about nothing about only about horse racing. He told me some great stories about Santa Anita and about buzzers. I never heard that story before. But when you were a kid and you go to shake somebody's hand, they had a buzzer in there and it buzzed in your hand.
Yeah.
Like, and you're, it didn't electrocute you, just startled you.
They did call it like the original shocker or whatever.
Yeah. Right, exactly. They called it the shocker. And he said that jockeys used to wear those. And if they were coming down the stretch, they would put that buzzer on the horse's neck and that horse would take off.
Really?
Yeah, and I'd never heard that story before. And he said at the Meadowlands in New York, they drained the pond and they found 12,000 of those buzzers at the bottom of that pond. 12,000 of them. Because they'd use them and they didn't want to get caught them because they're illegal and they'd right in the pond. And I never heard that story before. He was filled with great stories. So we go out there, lose. 7 races, nothing, not even close. Every horse was last or decided to do a cartwheel out of the gate. Bang, 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 gone. And so I'm driving home, quiet, right? Both quiet. And my phone rings. And I pick it up. And I'm talking to my wife. And the guy sneezes or coughs. And she said, who's in the car with you? When you look like me, it's always like, what model are you with? What Sports Illustrated model are you with? Swear to God, Angel. So I said, I'm not with a Playmate or a Sports Illustrated model. I'm with this guy, Cliff, I think was his name, from the Goodwill. And she pauses. And she's like, how do you know this guy? And I said, I just met him today at the Goodwill. She said, you're going to the track with a guy you just met at the Goodwill. I said, well, when you frame it like that, I can understand how it reeks of desperation and loserosity and all those terms. But we had a great time. And yes, might be our last time too, because this guy's luck is worse than mine. If you could believe that. He's the only guy ever who works at Goodwill who has no luck left. You're born with a certain amount of luck. Somehow he exhausted his. I don't know what he did, but his is gone. And then my wife said, Tim, that's not how handicapping works when you go to the races. You don't just pick up a guy who you think has some existing luck and then try to leech off it. It's picking up a form or a racing digest and looking and studying. I said, yeah, that seems like a lot. That seems like a lot.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Right. And then as she was hanging up, I heard her very distinctly say, this has got to be the dumbest guy I've ever met. Talk about me. Rough day.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
I heard my mom swear every single day of her life. She would use swear words more than she would use just common words. And every day, every single day. Conversely, never heard my dad swear once. Never once, except one instance. My dad used to use a manual typewriter up until 2005. Manual typewriter to write. And he was out of ribbon. The ribbon had no more juice, no more ink. And so he said, hey, let's go down to the stationery store and get a ribbon. I said, all right. So we go down there. And we said, hey, do you have these ribbons for a manual typewriter? And he said, they don't make those anymore. And I said, well, how do we get some? And he said, well, you've got to go to yard sales in the valley and see if you can find an old typewriter that has some ink in the ribbon. And I said, oh, okay. All right. So my dad, on Saturday, I pick him up. We go out to Corbin or Reseda, and we're driving around. My dad puts a hat on, and we're going through yard sales and looking at people's crap, looking for a typewriter that has ribbon. And I said, Dad, I think this is rock bottom. I think you got to get a computer. He said, nah, I'm not going to get a computer. I don't know how to operate those. I said, I'll teach you. Just buy a good computer. Don't buy a crappy one. Buy a high-end computer that's easy to operate. So he puts down, $3 or $4 grand, gets the computer, the mouse, the pad, the printer, the tower, the monitor, the whole thing. And I'm teaching him how to use the computer. And he's picking it up okay. It's not great. A lot of questions. Look, he was coming from a manual typewriter and now to a computer. And I get home and he calls me up and he says, you got to get your ass back here and show me how to use this effing thing. Or else I'm going to throw it through the window and then I'm going to jump out after it.
You're like, Mom, you sound an awful lot like Dad.
Yeah. And I went back and I sat there with him for like 4 or 5 hours. And then the next day, another 4 or 5 hours. And he finally got it. He finally picked up enough where he could like bet on TVG. He picked that up. But he said, TVG is where you bet horse racing online. He said, your stepmother and I are uncomfortable putting our credit card online. Can you open up an account for me and I'll just pay you every month, the money that I lose? And I said, oh, okay. I said, so you're uncomfortable putting your credit card online, but mine you could give a rat's ass about. He goes, well, yeah, that's exactly right. He sort of laughed about that. So my dad would gamble on TVG. And some months he would win where he would, he wouldn't have to give me a check at all, 2 or 3 months. And then there'd be months where he lost $300 or $400. but he never lost more than $500 in a month. He sort of, cut himself off. He wasn't spending, $50,000 a month. The most he ever spent was $400 or $500 in a month. And the way he would repay me is he would send me a check from his business manager. And this went on for 3 or 4 years. And his business manager was close with him. So she would show up at his Christmas party every year. And she always gave me the cold shoulder. She's like, hi, Tim. I said, hey, how you doing? She goes, I'm good. And just walked away. And then she finally, she had a couple of glasses of wine. I was sitting next to her at the Christmas party. And she said, can I ask you a question? I said, yeah. And she said, are they paying you over at KLSX? That's when I was working over there. I said, yeah, they're paying me okay. And she said, well, is your dad making your car payments for you? I was like 38 at the time. I said, no, he's not making my car payments. And she said, well, what's the check for that he gives you every month? I'm like, oh, no. She thought for the last 4 years that I'm a deadbeat and he's paying for my car payment every month. That I'm not making any dough. And for 4 years, every time she came to the Christmas party, she gave me the cold shoulder. And she thought that I'm still on the payroll.
Yeah, she's like, get your act together.
That's right. And I'm like, no. And I couldn't tell her what it was because he asked me not to tell anybody. So I said, yeah, things are going well, Fall short every month. You know what it's like.
I'm trying.
That's right. I tried. But man, with people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s who get a computer for their... Did your mom go through that, Bellio? Did your mom... does she have a computer?
My mom bought me my first computer.
Oh, wow.
My mom was already pretty savvy on the computer.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Good for her.
True story.
Oh, that's great. Man, your mom's bright.
She's pretty good. She just heard her doctor just the other day because she went on the portal on the line and stuff and filled everything out.
Wow.
And they were like, because she's in her 80s. So they were like, wow, you did that all on your own? And like, yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Man, that's great. Your dad ever getting computers?
No, he would tell me to use my magic phone to look up stuff.
That's so great. Somebody sent me a book today. A guy named George, is it Alacron? George Alacron? Let me take a closer look at this. This guy sent me a package today. George Alacron from San Clemente. He sent me a book. They Went That Away and That Away is it's a movie my dad did, and I never even realized it was a book, but it's a small little 105-page paperback book, and I pull it out, and Bellio says, "Oh my God!" She goes, "What's your connection to that book?" And I said, "My dad wrote it and starred in the movie." It was Bellio's first book she ever read in her life.
Well, it was the first book,
cover to cover.
Yeah, cover to cover that I had done completely on my own.
But we have such a connection. Before I even met you, you had met my dad, and my dad called your dad, and they're both racetrack guys.
Yes, he was filming. What was that sitcom?
Oh, They Went That Away and That Away.
No, I just
King of Queens.
No,
Seinfeld.
Friends.
We could be here all night long.
MASH?
It'll come to me. No. It was a scene with Gray Davis, former Governor Gray Davis, and they were shooting at a Laker game.
King of Queens.
No, what was that? He played like the dad on it or something.
Oh, okay.
And so I went down and I asked if we could get an interview with him for halftime. And while he was waiting to go on, I said, would you mind if I called my dad, saying hi to my dad? He's like, of course. He was so sweet because my dad obviously was a huge Tim Conway fan.
And this is before you and I had ever met.
Yes, before you and I even met. And he, so my nephew answered the phone and I said, go get Papa. And he goes, he's in the bathroom. I go, tell him Tim Conway's on the phone. And so my dad comes to the phone like, what? And so I have a picture of your dad talking to my dad on the phone.
Oh, that's cool.
And he was traveling with Harvey Korman at the time. And
your dad?
No, Tim Conway.
Oh, sorry.
Wow, what a coincidence.
Track the story.
He invited my dad. He was going to be in Denver, and he invited my dad to be his guest at Elitch's the performance.
Oh, yeah. My dad usually said, I'll hook you up, and they never followed through.
He never hooked him up. So
yeah, but he always meant to. He just forgot.
No, I'm sure if
Yeah.
How would you remember that? It was like months away.
Yeah, that's true.
But he was so sweet, and it was like.
So before we even met, my dad hosed your dad.
Totally.
Out of
totally.
tickets.
And so when I met you, a lot of stuff made sense. A lot of it made sense.
How dare you?
How dare you?
All right, we're live on KFI. It seems like it's midnight, doesn't it? God
seems
almighty.
like
it's not even 6
PM.
o'clock. All right, we're live on KFI.
Conway Show on demand on the iHeartRadio app. Now, you can always hear us live on KFI AM 640, 4 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and anytime on demand on the iHeartRadio app.